And good afternoon, producer Susan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jersee Joe. How are you?
I'm fantastic, thank you. And so let's see, what was yesterday, by the way, astronomically speaking,
It was the autumnal equinox.
which means that what? We had what does that mean?
12 hours of daylight, 12 hours of darkness.
Which means every day for the next 90 days, we're going to have a few minutes less daylight every day until December 21st. And what happens on December 21st?
It is the winter solstice.
Which is
When we'll start gaining a minute a day.
right. And it's the shortest daylight day of the year,
Shortest
December 20th.
daylight day of the year, yeah.
All right. Well, good.
Finally, I think you get darker a little bit a few minutes before I get dark because I'm
That's
west of
true.
you. But
That's true. All
and
right.
finally, it is now officially 7 o'clock is the sunset now. It
All
fi
right.
has finally fallen below 7 o'clock.
All right. All right. So anyway, so we're officially in autumn as of last night. We're officially in autumn. All right. Um, well, got so many things, so many quotes to play. I won't be doing much talking. I'm just gonna be playing clip after clip after clip. So let me tell you what we're gonna try to get through. We may not get through all of it. Our quote of the week, by the way, is a video clip from we all know who Bill Maher is, right?
Yeah.
Well, the
Talk
Bill
show
Maher had a
host.
comment on the Emmy Awards and the complete mention of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And our stupidest thing I've heard all week, I started off with two contenders, then it became three contenders, and then late this afternoon became four contenders. Here's the four contenders. The first is a US Congressman telling us just because you commit a crime, that doesn't make you a criminal. The second is how an anti-gun group categorized Charlie Kirk's murder. The third is Kamala Harris claiming that the 2024 presidential race was, quote, the closest election in the 21st century. And the fourth is I'll let you talk about Penn State student who wrote a letter to the local newspaper complaining about the lack of an Air Force Guard jet flyover during the game schedule for this coming weekend.
Mhm.
I'll let you talk about that one,
Yep.
and then we can pick a winner. Then we have a clip of Congresswoman Rasida Talib from Michigan screaming at Congressman Byron Donalds of Florida, a black congressman from Florida, uh, claiming that he's a member of the Third Reich. Now, the Third Reich were Nazis, right? Did you know of any
Yeah.
black members of the not any?
No,
All right,
I don't
well,
think so.
and this is and this just talk about behavior on the floor of the U.S. Congress. I mean, you won't believe what you're going to hear. Um, you know who Mike Wallace was, right?
Yeah, 60 Minutes.
Right. Well, I've got a clip of him interviewing Johnny Carson, who, of course, one of the most famous late night talk show hosts of all time. And this is relevant to the firing or the suspension and then the of Jimmy Kimmel last week. And Mike Wallace asks Johnny Carson, this is from almost 40 years ago, why he doesn't get into political commentary on his show and talk about prophetic words from Johnny Carson. I mean, this is exactly why guys like Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel should not get into political commentary. And Johnny Carson, I think, had it all figured out.
Mhm.
Um, I continue to see many on the left trying to paint Charlie Kirk as either a racist or a bigot who shouldn't be honored or remembered because they claim he was a racist or a bigot. I know we talked about this last week and how why he didn't like DEI because he didn't want to have to think, is that person where they are because they lowered the standards? Well, we have two videos, one from a black person who said no, he wasn't a bigot or a racist, and here's proof. Um, then we'll move on to, we'll tell you what city in the United States is suing which gun manufacturer over something criminals have been doing with the guns they make. Can you imagine if a criminal stole your car and did something and then, drove it through the front door of a bank or something that they want to sue the car manufacturer? Well, this is
Yeah.
a city wants to sue the gun manufacturer over something criminals are doing with their guns. And our taxpayer relief shot is not from Texas. It's not from Florida. It's from Oakland, where not one, not two, not three, not four, but five armed thugs attempt to rob a cash for gold store and encounter an armed owner behind the counter. And guess what? Not all five of the thugs got to go home that night. All right, so let's go to our quote of the week from, by the way, you think we're going to fit all that all
That's an
in?
awful lot.
I know, and it's all clips, so I'm not going to do a lot of talking. But here's Bill Maher talking about the Emmys this last over the weekend.
does have this bad attitude of go no contact. I mean, at the Emmys, would it have killed someone to get up there, since they all want to talk about their politics, would it kill somebody to get up there, not give a speech about how much they like Charlie Kirk, just to say, we had a political assassination this week, and that's wrong, and they would have been booed off the stage because he was on the wrong team. So you're not even allowed to say that. Can you imagine if a left-wing person was assassinated that week? The whole show would have been about that.
What do you think? Is he spot on?
Yeah.
I'm going to play this one more time. Here we go.
Does have this bad attitude of go no contact. I mean, at the Emmys, would it have killed someone to get up there, since they all want to talk about their politics, would it kill somebody to get up there, not give a speech about how much they like Charlie Kirk, just to say, we had a political assassination this week, and that's wrong, and they would have been booed off the stage because he was on the wrong team. So you're not even allowed to say that. Can you imagine if a left-wing person was assassinated that week? The whole show would have been about that.
Yep, and I think he's 100% right. I have no doubt that again, would it hurt somebody to say, I didn't support Charlie, but political assassination is wrong, and we need to work towards making sure that doesn't happen. What would it have taken for just one of those people to say that?
Yeah.
So, all right. Now, Congressman Jasmine Crockett, I believe she's from Texas. I could be wrong. And she's a lawyer, by the way. Well, here she is telling us that apparently she doesn't own a dictionary. So here's what she has to say about people who commit crimes.
Oh, well, how do you fix it? How do you make communities safer? And I do think that I'm in a unique situation because I was having the conversations with people that were going out and committing crimes. And so I understood what was kind of pushing them there. And so I do want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal. That is completely different. Being a criminal is more so about your mindset. Committing a crime can come for a lot of different reasons.
Now, by the way, I went online dictionary and I looked up the definition of criminal, and you know what it said?
Somebody who commits a crime?
Somebody who, someone who commits a crime. Now, she's a lawyer, and here she is telling us that committing a crime doesn't make you a criminal. So that's our first nominee for the stupidest thing I've heard all week. And I need to change this to 4 nominees. All right, now let me pause this because apparently it's playing and it shouldn't be playing. Now, we've talked about the anti-gun group, the Gun Violence Archive, right? And they come up with these ridiculous statistics, like we've had, 168 school shootings so far this year, and we've had 326 mass murders, whatever. All these ridiculous. So Charlie Kirk was assassinated at Utah Valley College on September 10th. I checked their website. Do you know they have listed his assassination as a, quote, school shooting?
I can understand this one. So one of the things that they do include in these statistics are, for an example, a gang shooting between 2 gangs on 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday night. Just because that may have happened on school property. That, in my opinion, I don't classify as a school shooting. This happened on a college campus with college students all around in the middle of the afternoon. I might give them this one.
All right. Well, by the way, they also, if somebody gets killed at 1:00 in the morning at a frat party on a Saturday night, they classify that as a school shooting as well. Somebody commits suicide, a teacher commits suicide in the school parking lot after school lets out, they classify that as a school shooting.
Yeah, that I wouldn't classify that as a school shooting.
Oh, no, but they, if some kid, they had one last year where some kid over the Thanksgiving recess, school was closed for 4 days. They came back on Monday and somebody had shot out some of the school windows with a BB gun.
Yeah, I think on this one, I'm gonna give this one to them.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna disagree with you on this one.
All right. So you're not going to vote for that one.
Nah,
all right.
I'm gonna give them this one.
All right, now we're going to go to Kamala Harris. She was on the Rachel Maddow show last week talking about, the election, last year and how she went. And I'm just going to bring you to this where she's telling her, she makes this ridiculous statement about, here we go.
Running for re-election, 3.5 months from the election, decides not to run. The sitting vice president enters the race against a former president of the United States who's been running for 10 years with 107 days to go. And it ended up being the closest presidential election in the 21st century.
Wait a minute, wait. The closest presidential election in the 21st century?
No.
The Electoral College vote was 312 to 226. Were you
No.
old enough to remember the Bush versus Gore presidential race that went all the way to the Supreme Court?
Yeah.
And I mean, is this the stupidest thing you've heard a week that she says this is the race I ran against Trump was the closest presidential race?
It wasn't close at all. It was not
It was a
close at all.
freaking landslide, a landslide.
Yeah.
All right, and that was our third nominee. So far we've got. Let me just go back and recap. So first of all, we got Jasmine Crockett, Representative Jasmine Crockett, the attorney saying committing crime doesn't make you a criminal. I had Gun Violence Archive classifying Charlie Kirk's assassination as a school shooting. Kamala Harris saying it was the closest presidential race in the 21st century. And we have one that you sent me. This is a Penn State wrote a letter to the local newspaper about you've got the biggest game of the year coming up this Saturday,
Yeah.
right? It's Penn State
Yeah.
versus last year's divisional champ Oregon.
No,
And
I don't think they were divisional champs. I think they were national champs.
national champs. So it's going to be the biggest game of the year. And now, traditionally, your Penn State game, the Air National Guard does a jet flyover, and there's not going to be one.
No, it's not even the Air National Guard. We're talking like the Air Force or
Okay.
Navy.
All right. Well,
We're talking. We're first. We are first class all the way. We
All right.
yeah. We are first
But-
class
but-
all the way.
But you're not going to have this one this Saturday night. And this student wrote the letter, which got published by the local newspaper. So why do you think his complaint about not being a jet flyover
So
was
as
stupid?
we just talked about as we opened the show, yesterday was the autumnal equinox, and the sun sets here is setting here prior to 7 p.m. Now it is still dusk for another 30 minutes past sunset, but the kickoff is at 7:30, so it will be dark. It will be beyond dusk. It'll be dark. And I have to say, they are absolutely spectacular when the we're talking like Top Gun fighter pilots here. When they fly over, it is a spectacular sight. But it's going to be dark.
Dark. And you'll only be able to see them maybe for the 3 seconds that they're over the field. You
Oh,
won't
yeah.
see
When they fly over, it happens so quick.
Right, but you won't see him coming. You won't see him going. Maybe if the lights of the field are bright enough, you'll be able to look up and maybe see the bottom of the jets. But you won't see him coming. You won't see him going.
Yeah. I mean, you will hear them for sure. I mean, they rock the stadium when they fly over, but yeah, we won't see them.
All right. So what's your vote? Jasmine Crockett, committing a crime doesn't make you a criminal. We already know you don't want to vote for the Charlie Kirk one. Kamala Harris
Yeah.
saying that it was the closest election in the 21st century, or Penn State student complaining about no flyover.
I'm kind of tied between, what was her name? She's the lawyer. What was her name?
Jasmine Crockett,
Jasmine. I mean, she is a lawyer and she doesn't know what the definition of a
criminal.
criminal is. Like, come on, you're a lawyer. You learned this in like Law 101.
Right.
But also, I'm kind of torn between that and Kamala because like that was basic math.
Yeah. Well, listeners, please let us know. Send me an email to joe@jerzee.com. Just remember to spell Jersey, Jerzee, jerseyjoe.com. Let me know which one of those four you think is the stupidest thing you've heard all week. All right, now let's go to Congressman Rasida Talib, from a Democrat from Michigan. She starts off. She's got a couple of minutes. Everybody's been allocated 5 minutes, and she's kind of giving this speech on the floor of the House of Representatives. She starts screaming at another Congressman, Byron Donalds, who's a representative from Florida, Republican, and he happens to be a black man. So here is Rasida Talib. She starts off rational, but it doesn't end there. Here we go.
But I think it's important, Mr. Chair, just like in DC, home rule was one out of Black freedom struggle in the fight for civil rights. We can't be passive right now. So nobody over there should take anything we say like so personally as if we're attacking them. No, we're attacking a process, not attacking people here. And I think it's really important. We need to stand up against this fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact. And here in DC,
By the way, her opinion doesn't make it a fact.
across the country. It is so incredibly important, Mr. Chair, that this committee does not allow rhetoric that defames and or paints Washington D.C. in a way that you all haven't really truly seen. You're just reading it. No, you're just reading it or something off of some.
Will the gentlelady yield to a question?
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Will the gentlelady yield?
I don't even have time. I can
But
tell you.
your time's expired,
Mr.
Ms. Talib. I'm
Chair.
not.
Now, she's just been told by the chairperson that her time has expired. But do you think that's going to stop her?
No.
But you all live
Like-
here and you're not telling people the beautiful parts that you do see in our
Mr.
nation's
Lee.
capital. And no, it's just wrong.
Oh,
Chairman, I think it's
Time's
saying that the
expired.
gentlelady
Time's
doesn't have an
expired.
argument, but she's going to refer to me and some of my colleagues.
Mr. Donalds?
Like we were from the Third Reich. This is insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane.
Oh.
Do I look like a member of the Third Reich to you, Ms. Talib? Is that what I look like to you?
You're the one taking your.
Is that what you think? Is that what you think? Is that what you think? I think it's radical and I think it's insane. And I'll respect everything that you say, but to say something like that to myself and a lot of my colleagues is way out of line. It's way out of line. It's way out of line.
Regular order, Mr.
Way out of line.
All right.
Regular order. It's okay. It's okay, right?
Isn't that how it
It's
goes?
okay, right?
You hold yourself accountable before you talk about
Hold
Washington.
myself
All right,
accountable.
Mr. Lee.
Hold your own self accountable. How about that? Hold your own
I'm
self
trying to
accountable.
compromise.
Free DC and make sure you
All right,
with your own voting card. Don't be giving it to somebody
Mr.
else.
Talib. All right, time.
Well, that's what passes for debate these days.
Wow.
Had you
Wow.
heard that? Had you heard that before?
No, I have not.
Rasida Talib from Michigan. Anyway, so what do you think of her rant?
Yeah, like have some decorum.
And how do you call a black man a member of the Third Reich, which is the Nazis?
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Anyway, so that was I don't know what to even call that, but I just thought you should you for people who aren't exposed to that stuff, you should hear it. Now here's a great one. This is Mike Wallace interviewing Johnny Carson on why he doesn't think late night talk show hosts should involve themselves in politics. And here we go.
Sensitive about the fact that people say you'll never take a serious controversy. Well, I have an answer to that. I said, now, tell me the last time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, any comedian, used his show to do serious issues. That's not what I'm there for. Can't they see that? But why do they think that just because you have a Tonight Show that you must deal in serious issues? That's a danger. It's a real danger. Once you start that, you start to get that self-important feeling that what you say has great import. And strangely enough, you could use that show as a forum. You could sway people. And I don't think you should as an entertainer.
So what do you think of Johnny Carson? Did he
Hey,
have
it's right. I mean, first of all, people like Johnny Carson and Jimmy Kimmel, they are entertainers. They are comedians. They are talk show hosts. They are not newscasters. They are not journalists.
Yep. And as soon as you start to take sides, you lose half your audience. Now,
Yeah.
I remember Jay Leno, who I used to watch, not every night, but Jay Leno, he would make fun of both sides. He would crack joke about the Democrats. He would have the president on and he would make fun of the president. He'd have, the Democratic, he would, Jay Leno, it was never vicious. When he made fun of somebody, it was good humor. It was never, ever vicious. Guys like Stephen Colbert these days, their political humor is vicious humor, and there's a difference between good-natured ribbing and vicious humor.
Yeah.
So, I think guys like Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert should take a lesson from Johnny Carson. All right.
Yeah. I mean, there's also this, it is interesting what has happened though, because there is this question of freedom of speech. And again, these are not newscasters. These are not journalists. These are entertainers, comedians.
Right.
They are entitled to their opinion.
Yeah,
And-
and their employers. And by the way, the First Amendment freedom of speech only applies to the government's ability to punish you. The government, it does not apply to any employer. Every employer has the right to restrict what you can and can't say, not only while you're at work, but if most executives and whatnot have what's called a morals, ethics, and practices clause that says if you do or say something that reflects badly, on you as a high profile member of our organization, that can be grounds for termination. And that's why, if a guy is arrested for doing cocaine, or soliciting a prostitute, on a weekend, his employer, if he's a CEO, they can fire him for that because it reflects badly on the corporation. And that's why, uh, ABC, if they wanted to fire Jimmy Kimmel for what he was doing, because it reflected badly. And again, I think 38 of their affiliates said, we're not going to carry the show anymore. And the ad revenues that ABC gets is directly proportional to how many people see the show every night. Well, if 38 of your affiliates, many of them in some of the largest cities in the United States, say, we're not going to carry your show as long as you have this bozo on, well, that's perfect grounds for your employer to terminate you because you're costing them money. So that's why that happened. All right. So I want to move on to Charlie Kirk. I know we've only got probably 10 minutes left, but again, the left continues this practice of they take things he said, they'll take 8 words out of something he said, and they take it completely out of context, and they say, see, he's a racist, see, he was a bigot. Well, there's a black guy actually, and this Jeffrey means a black guy. He's got a TikTok page, and he takes this on, and he gives a perfect example of somebody who takes 8 words that Charlie Kirk said out of context to try to try to claim that Charlie Kirk was a racist, and he debunks it. Here we go. At first, he's going to play the clip of this guy taking something Charlie Kirk said out of context.
A lot of white folks commenting on my last video asking for proof that Charlie Kirk was an outspoken racist. And there are many horrible quotes to choose from, but there's one that I haven't seen get quite as much attention that I believe is head and shoulders worse than all the rest. In December of 2023, Kirk said, quote, "We made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s," end quote.
See how.
No, that was another podcaster. And here comes Jeffrey Mead, a black man, rebutting that.
Oh, he said, end quote. Charlie Kirk has explained his reasoning behind this multiple times. And these people have to leave out the context in order to paint the picture they want to paint. Listen to Charlie Kirk talking about this.
You said the Civil Rights Act was a mistake. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so the parts of the Civil Rights Act were great, but the way it's now being implemented to force men in female bathrooms to push forward of the trans agenda, the intent of the Civil Rights Act is way beyond what it was originally authored for.
But the intent specifically originally was to...
Well, that's interesting. So the intent and the law are two different things. So the intent was noble, which was to say that no American can be not allowed into a place of business based on the color of their skin or their ethnic heritage. Totally agreement with that.
Did we see what he just said?
Are two different things. So the intent was noble, which was to say that no American can be not allowed into a place of business based on the color of their skin or their ethnic heritage. Totally agreement with that.
So he said he's totally in agreement with that. He also said it was noble. Let's actually look at the definition of noble real quick. Number 2 is the definition that applies. Having or showing fine personal qualities or high moral principles and ideals. So he's saying the Civil Rights Act had high moral principles. It was noble. It was good. He says he's in agreement with the intent. So no, he doesn't want black people being denied at water fountains. He does not think we shouldn't have rights in this country. Now let's let him continue.
That's not what the law only did. It created a massive anti-racist DEI army that then gave us affirmative action. For example, recently Merrick Garland sued using the Civil Rights Act, saying that we cannot have voter ID in certain states because of the violation of the Civil Rights Act. So basically what the Civil Rights Act did is that it went beyond disparate impact and then went to disparate effect. In the sense where if black Americans are not doing as well as white Americans in a certain category, you can now use the Civil Rights Act and say that's a violation of the Civil Rights Act, even though there might be other contributing factors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's too broad, too wide, and it's now doing a lot of damage to the country. It's being used well beyond its original intent.
The way that it's being.
So what had you ever heard that before?
No, I haven't, but there is so many instances of like the spirit of the law versus the intent,
Yep.
It happens all the time and just the way the world evolves is not keeping up with how laws are necessarily written or how they were intended.
But how, what's what I'm looking something for, unethical is it to take, now I'm sure this guy saw I'm sure the first guy that you heard using that as proof that Charlie Kirk was a racist, I'm sure he saw the whole quote. Mm-hmm. But how unethical is it to take something out of context? See, it's proof that he was a racist, right?
Yeah, no, he wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
It goes back to the, civil rights was intended after, the slaves had been freed to give them equal rights.
But it's being used now to say, yeah, if you're a guy but you want to claim you're a woman, yeah, you can go in the girls' locker room and shower there. Now, just as further proof, here's Charlie Kirk. This is a compilation of Charlie Kirk. Every student you hear speaking is a black student, and here's a collection of Charlie Kirk interacting with black students on several college campuses. And here we go.
Billy did the debate with you, man.
I want you to think about what I asked you.
Okay, you mind if I have a hat?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Black guy just asking for a hat.
Great points. I would say that I am with you for the idea of a colorblind society. I think it's a bit of a farce to say that colorblind society is something we should aspire to, but I think it's a farce to think that it doesn't exist, that race doesn't play a
totally
factor.
agree.
Okay.
Yeah, you're black, but it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
It's not the most important thing. Instead, it's, are you a good person? How do you act? How do you treat other people? Are you a Christian? Like, what is your worldview? I want to get back to that. Of course, we're still going to see differences, but I want to de-emphasize them to a place where we look at each other as fellow human beings and fellow American citizens. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, one more, hey, can I get a hat?
Absolutely.
And boy, the hats he's giving out are Trump 47 hats.
Thank you, guys.
Thankfully, I was raised away from all that, 2 loving parents. But
And that's the greatest thing that you are, one of the, if not the greatest. And that's my hope for every child, black, white, or Asian, to have 2 parents. That is a ticket to success. Please continue. But here's something I will encourage you to do as a Christian. Care less about people's shared racial experience and look at them instead of just as their soul as God made them. We should try to strive towards a blinder race nation, not one that talks about skin color all the time.
I agree 100%.
And I think, where's my brother up here? Where's my man? Look at him. You got to come up here. Come up here. Come up here. Come up here. Get over the gate. Come over the gate. Look at this guy here. Look at this. Yeah. Right to the mic.
you stand for me, we good.
Wait, I only stand up for white. What, is that a white man? Can you look at him, please? Look at him. Is that a white man?
How many genders?
Charlie, for the sake of myself, I really do appreciate
People's shared racial soul as God made them. We should.
I agree 100%.
Here. Get over the gate. Come over the gate. Look at this guy here. Look at this. Yeah. Right to the mic.
you stand for me, we good.
Wait, I only stand up for white. Is that a white man? Can you look at him, please? Look at him. Is that a white man? Is that a white man? You said I only stand up for white men. He's got dreads. Instead of just looking at everything in the past that's wrong and bad through a victim lens, say, you know what?
It's still,
One sec. Say, you know what? I'm an American, and I'm going to use my mental energy to say, despite all of that, I get to succeed and flourish and prosper as a Black American at the University of Tennessee. You are a living embodiment, Gigi, that you can still succeed as a Black individual. Because I look at you not as a Black guy, but as a human being made in the image of God, and I want to know what you bring to the table. Are you good at the job?
Charlie.
Did that sound like a racist to you?
No.
No. And by the way, the guy, when he said come over, he was debating a white guy who said you only stick up for white Christians, and then he said then the black guy said, both, and Charlie said come up over the fence, and he stood, then made him stand next to the white guy who only said you only stick up for white Christians. So it didn't sound like a racist, did he?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. How much time we got?
Got about 5 minutes.
All right, taxpayer relief shot. Let's play a real quick one. Why we call them taxpayer relief shots? And here we go.
If somebody's breaking in your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you do, actually. Hopefully, you'll save the taxpayers money.
All right, and so let's move on to, again, this is Oakland, California. 5 armed thugs attempt to rob this cash for gold. It's at nighttime, and here we go. Let me see if I can find this one here.
Suspects are dead, and the 3 who survived are facing murder charges. 1 employee was wounded in the gun battle.
Now, this comes on the heels of a bloody weekend in Oakland, really, with a number of deadly shootings. ABC 7 News reporter Francis Wang has what investigators are saying about this and how city leaders are reacting.
Right now, we're still early in the investigation. That's going to take time to determine who shot first in regards to who pulled out the guns first.
Employees at Eddie Cash for Gold in East Oakland armed and fed up. On Wednesday night, shortly after they closed up shop at 7:30 here on International Boulevard, Oakland police say a group of masked men, some armed, tried to rob them.
5 suspects entered the business and began to assault the employees inside.
That's when a gun battle began. One employee injured, 2 of the suspects dead, 3 injured. The surviving suspects now being charged with attempted robbery and even murder.
So wait a minute, if they didn't kill anybody, why are they being charged with murder?
Yeah.
You know why? Because in most states, if anybody dies during the commission of a felony,
yeah.
So 2 of their buddies got killed by the shop owner, but because they were participating in a felony, that was the proximate cause of their death.
That resulted in a death. Yeah.
Right. All right. Here we go.
We believe that their compatriots are thereby responsible for those deaths and therefore were booked on homicide charges.
Just hours before, video showing a smash and grab robbery attempt at this jewelry store in Milpitas. Someone inside this store also opened fire as the suspects ran off. Oakland police aren't sure if the 2 are connected, but they know business owners are frustrated and frightened.
Well, I don't want anyone to think that we're in a place to where we want our community to become vigilantes. That's not what we're looking for here.
Police revealing the suspects were all from Stockton. Mayor Barbara Lee telling ABC7 News in part, quote, "While this tragic event highlights the broader regional challenges we face, it also underscores our commitment to protecting Oakland's residents, workers, and business owners who deserve to be safe and feel safe in their own community." Police here also addressing the other shootings from just over the weekend.
Well, we can end it there. So
was that California?
Yeah, Oakland, California.
Yeah. So this is this is another, I mean, these kids who are committing these crimes they're not facing any consequences, so their crimes are escalating, and now look what has happened.
Yep, 2 are dead and 3 wound up in the hospital with gunshot wounds. Thank goodness the person in the pawn shop was only wasn't he was just he was wounded but not critically injured. But 2 of their buddies are dead, and the other 3 are being charged with homicide because they got killed during the commission of a felony.
Yeah.
So I think that was a pretty damn good taxpayer relief shot, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, biggest game of the year coming up. It's close. The bookies have us losing by 3, but ESPN has us winning by 3, so it's going to be a close game.
Wow, and it starts at 7:30, right?
7:30, yeah.
Saturday night. All right. And no jet noise to to drown out the festivities. All right.
We will be the 3rd largest city in Pennsylvania on Saturday night.
That's right. Because when the Beaver, how many people does Beaver Stadium hold?
110,000. We are the 2nd largest stadium in the entire country. We are larger than any NFL stadium in the country.
When 110,000 people show up in State College, Pennsylvania, to watch a football
game. There's
game.
110 in the stadium. There's like another 50,000 people that are just outside in the fields tailgating and watching it on big screens.
Yeah, they got big screen TV.
I mean, the tailgate setups are elaborate.
Yeah, because they got big screen TVs outside the stadium, right?
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and the RVs, I mean, yeah, it's elaborate.
All right. Well, good luck to Penn State. We'll talk about the game next week. All right. Anyway, I want to thank everybody who listened to this podcast for giving up 30 minutes out of your busy day to listen to me ramble on about things I find of interest and importance. And I hope you found those topics as interesting and important as I did. And hopefully you learned something and maybe you have some ammunition. So when somebody says, yeah, Charlie Kirk was a racist or Charlie Kirk was a bigot, you have some ammunition. And if you want to see some of those materials, the story links you heard me talk about today, give producer Susan a couple of days and you'll be able to find links to those video clips on the Jerzee Joe website at jerziejoe.com, with Jersey being spelled J-E-R as in Robert, Z as in zebra, E-E, Jerzee, jerziejoe.com. Alternatively, if you'd like me to email you a specific link, just send me an email to joe@jerziejoe.com, and I'll be happy to email you one or more of those video links that you heard on the show. And with that, producer Susan, anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Nope.
All right. Well, you enjoy. Good luck on the game, and I'll talk to you next week. You take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You too.